Welcome to the evening tonight. We hope to shed some light on the state of startups in technology. So each of you have roughly 30 seconds to explain your name and your company and what you do. So we'll start over there with...
I'm Alex Welch, the CEO and founder of Photobucket.com. We're the leading photo and video sharing and publishing platform for bloggers, social networking, e-commerce sites. Currently have about 22 million members, doing about 15.5 million uniques per month.
Yes, I'm Daniel. I'm the co-founder of Charger. We founded Charger 1 year ago. And what is Charger? Charger is a Voice 2.0 service, actually. Probably the first one of this kind. And so you open up Charger, you type in your phone number, you type in the phone number of your friend, you hit the call button, your phone will ring, you start talking. No download, no installation, no headset, nothing. And you can do it worldwide, just using your regular phone, no headset, and the rates are between free and cheap.
Joe Kraus. I'm the CEO and co-founder of JotSpot. We're a hosted wiki company. Prior to this, back in the early 90s, started Excite.com, sold that in 99 to At Home, and I'm a proud board member of the Electronic Frontier Foundation.
LinkedIn is basically the leading online professional networking site. If you want to hire, reference check, find an into a deal, find an expert. I mean, one way of looking at it. We have all these different angles, but if you think there's search for information, there's search for experts, it's one of the things you can do with LinkedIn. You all have some familiarity with it. Some of you are inactive, some of you are active. We're working on building out new features that will hopefully make you all active.
All right. So. Lauren?
I'm Lauren Elliott, CEO and founder of a company called PNN, which is Personal News Network. We're effectively doing the desktop publishing application for all of those people who don't. It's sort of the democratization of publishing for the home and family market. For everybody in here who doesn't blog, have never read a blog, doesn't know what an RSS feed, has never read one, never started a website, we're at that market. And so we're trying to bring that kind of content, that kind of ability to the home and family market.
All right, so Alex, I'll start with you. I would just like you to explain to the audience what each of your respective business models are. Not that business models matter in a Web 2.0 world, but go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, so with Photobucket, really the idea is to have a central place for you to put your stuff, whether it's images, photos, videos, other types of media to come. Really, people are wanting a central place to put everything. From that, they're taking the web and kind of building this full mesh out of it. They may have a blog and they're pulling in, music, they're pulling in, RSS feeds, they're pulling in images and videos. So really, the average user links to many different places. If you ask the teenage demographic, the word linking is becoming kind of a verb in their vocabulary, and they're wanting this simple place to store their content and really do what they want with their content. So the underlying business model was to grow a very large user base. It's primarily advertising today. We've got premium services, recently launched some mobile services, and really it's kind of a combination of those couple different things to diversify the revenue model.
Okay. Daniel, what's your business model?
Well, we think in general that the telecommunication market is in transition. If you look in the past, and you see that the prices for telecommunication, for telephony minutes, are constantly decreasing, and we will end up at zero rates sooner or later. What we are doing is we are taking this step for now, and we say, okay, we can now make free phone calls, and we will substitute this with additional services around telephony. So we will end up in a situation where we have the service Voice 2.0. That means telephony will become a new experience, because currently telephony is stupid. You type in a phone number, you call someone, you talk, you hang up. but you can do so much stuff around that. You can really create a great user experience. And everybody here is invited, to have a look on Charger.com because we are constantly adding features around it. And these features are paid features. And we think that at the end of the day, these paid features and also, calling, for instance, expensive routes to cell phones in Europe and so on, will substitute this telephony.
Oh, JotSpot's business model?
We're a pretty straightforward, simple business model. We're a subscription-based service. So you can get a JotSpot account for free. You use it up to a certain level of system resources, how many users, how many pages, and then it's a subscription fee from there. We had a pricing philosophy that we call expensible, not approvable. I definitely believe that in any new technology, you want to convince the fewest number of people possible to buy it, and so we wanted it to be something you could put on a personal credit card and expense back, and then once your boss saw how cool and useful this stuff was, then you could subscribe at higher levels. So again, very straightforward, between $10 and $200 a month.
So LinkedIn is about connecting the right professional you need, whether it's an expert, someone you'll hire, reference check, BD deal. We have hedge funds that use those in order to do market research. 3 revenue lines, subscriptions, which allows you to kind of directly connect with people through an internal reputation-based system called InMail. Job listings, hiring through your network, usually gets you much better results, and advertising. And we're profitable.
You are?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Mazel tov, as
Snaps
we
for
say.
Reed.
Okay, Lauren?
We're a subscription and premium service-based company, and that line I've spent the last month doing the VC route, and I've said that about 400 times. Really, what we are is publishing for the home and family market, and it's an ad-driven model, so that there are personalized ads put in it. I think I read somewhere that the last newspaper is going to be printed in 2032 or 2010, and we hope that PNN is the equivalent to that. It's basically turning everybody into editors. We add the ad content. We're sharing revenues back with the users. So that's what we do.
We really are really passionate about what we do, and we look at the world as let's just simplify the way that you do things. I think that a lot of companies get so tied up in how do we innovate, how do we have the perfect differentiator. We step back and say, what does the mainstream really want? What are the drop-dead simple things you can give them and keep it reliable, keep it safe? And they tend to be pretty happy. You don't have to always have the most bleeding edge technology. So for us, we really think that there's huge opportunity in solving problems for the masses, and that's kind of how we look at it.
All right, Daniel?
I mean, we are a pretty young company, 6 months on air. But my personal opinion is that 2 things. A, the web has grown up somehow, so that means users are now willing to pay for good services. And compared, to 10 years to the bubble, to the first bubble, everybody expected everybody's free. Everything is free. So this has changed. And the second thing is, in my point of view, that now entrepreneurs are really thinking about sustainable business models. I mean, if you have looked into this business models during the bubble, the whole business plans, they were based on raising money all the time. And then it crashed, and the companies filed for bankruptcy. And this has changed significantly, I guess. So, for instance, we will be profitable this year, and LinkedIn is profitable already. So we are talking about real economy here, real business, and these are the 2 things which have changed. So these are my 2 cents.
Okay. I think, Reed, it's your turn to start. Yeah. We have an audience primarily of entrepreneurs, so if you could just give them, your top 1, 2, maybe 3 tips about starting a company that you learned the hard way or the easy way.
Let's see. Okay, so 2 or 3 things. First thing is actually take your idea. There's a tendency to be very closeted because you think that you've got this unique idea that no one else has thought of, and by being secretive about it, you'll get kind of an avenue to market. at least go to 3 to 5 of the smartest, insightful people you know and get them to critique your idea, because frequently, about at least half the time, you can find what the serious problem is, and you should give some serious thought to whether or not that's an overcomable thing. I mean, one of the things I most often see in early entrepreneurial things is they say, well, I've got this idea, and you're like, well, yeah, but the problem is you have to get 10 million users into your system before it starts getting useful at all, right? And if it's that much of a ramp, you have a problem, right? Or something like that. So give serious thought to whether or not actually I'll give you a personal example of that, which is in '97 I founded a company called SocialNet, one of the key components dating service, and as it turned out, the very first serious objection that was raised turned out to be very true of the business, which is the problem is your customers churn at 3.5 months. They're done with you for one of two reasons. Either you found somebody and then they're happy and they're gone, right? Or they haven't found someone and they're unhappy and they're gone. And so it really limits the effectiveness of how much you can do that. And there we were 2.5 years later struggling with this issue that surfaced in the first intelligent discussion of it. Second thing is, at least as far as consumer internet stuff goes, which is I understand better than other things, frequently when an entrepreneur comes to me and says, I have this really killer consumer internet idea, I basically tell me your distribution plan. How is it you get to your first 1 million users? Because that's what the consumer internet's about. In retail, you say the 3 words of retail: location, location, location. In consumer internet, it's distribution, distribution, distribution. I'm not even interested in anything else until I'm basically told that piece of it. And I'm surprised still at how many times I see people trying to do consumer internet stuff where they come and say, oh, we'll solve distribution later. And you're like, well, zero distribution means zero value, period. No, it doesn't matter all the rest of the IP. Oh, we'll have patents, and we'll have a really complex technical system. It's like, yeah, fine, right? Doesn't matter. And then the third thing is, think about, well, I guess this piece of advice. One of the ways that I try to emphasize the value of time and time to market is, if you're not embarrassed in the consumer internet by the first version of the product you launch, you've launched too late.
When I started PhotoBucket, it was really kind of stepping back and say, what is something that I really need? I think you have to have really true passion about your product. I think it's really, really important to take that idea and quickly start iterating on it. I see so many companies or so many individuals that have great ideas, and they'll sit there and iterate and try to make it really perfect. I think nothing's perfect no matter what you do. It's not going to be perfect definitely on the first time. And get it out there in the market and just really listen to what people are saying about it. In the beginning, people were telling us exactly what they thought, exactly what they wanted. You listen to that. We drive north of 50% of our roadmap based on just pure feedback in the suggestion box. And they're generally really happy if you continue to give them what they are asking for. I think staying really, really focused on a few core things. So many people look at problems and they say, oh, there's a great way to solve it, and then another problem comes up and they have 10 ways to solve that. At the end of the day, if you're passionate about what you do and it's something that fills a basic need, keep it really simple. A lot of people ask, what's the secret sauce in PhotoBucket? I said, look at PhotoBucket, look at YouTube, look at MySpace. There was many, many, many companies that did very, very similar things. For some reason, a few of us have just nailed one little piece of that. You can't nail everything. I look at Google, and they nailed that little search piece at the very beginning, and that allows you to grow and really do more as you grow and you get distribution. But I think just really keep focused on the simple things that people want.
So with hindsight, what was the equivalent of the Google search box for PhotoBucket? What was the thing that allows you to have 20.5 MySpaces?
So it was the 80 lines of code that ran the entire thing without a database. It was just a simple web form that allowed you to upload a piece of content and give you back a URL. That was all there was to it. And you build on that, but you don't have to have 5 steps to get a piece of content from your computer to the internet and then to share that. So again, keeping it simple, one page.
Okay. Daniel?
Yeah, well, we have heard a lot about product and how we should look at the product before. My input in terms of product is make it as simple as possible, show it to your wife, and if it is not working, throw it in the bin. And the second input is in terms of getting VCs on board, right? And this is also important. You need money, actually, to really drive your project. And my tip here is start communicating with your favorite VCs at the very first beginning, even if you're not looking for money, actually. Start communicating with them. Go to them, say, this is my idea, what's your opinion, build your network. Get their inputs, they are professionals. And when it comes to a stage where you need money then, you already have your network, they know you, and then it's much, much easier to get real good conditions and get venture money.
Can you tell the audience the story of how Sequoia found you?
Well, actually, Charger was the first investment from Sequoia outside the US in Europe. And Michael Moritz left his aeroplane, and he spoke with a friend, and he said, "Hey, have you heard about this Charger, this Australian stuff?" Yeah, from Austria, but he thought Australia. And by the way, so
Spelling is close.
Yeah, it's close. So they talked to each other and said, "Okay, I will send a scout. Let's figure out who this Charger guy is, what they are doing in reality." And so they watched out for Charger in Australia. They didn't find us. They were worried, and then they had the idea. Okay, what about the Charger domain? Let's do a WHOIS search. And they found we are in Vienna, and then they said to their Israeli partner, "Hey, Austria is next to Israel. Just jump in your car, drive to Austria and have a look, right?" So he said, "Well, it's 3-4 hours flight. We cannot do it with a car, but I will fly over." And so they wrote us an email, and basically they found us. And they flew in, and 21 days later, everything was signed. 7 days later, the money was in the account. The company was closed in Austria. We moved everything to the Silicon Valley. And here we are.
Well, don't everybody think that's how it happens, okay? Not everybody's Wayne Gretzky either. Okay, Joe, your tips?
And I have example after example after example of when a recruit says, "No, I'm not coming to your company," get on a plane. Never taking no for an answer is huge. Second thing I would say, opportunity creates opportunity in ways that you cannot predict at all. So from a book that my girlfriend bought me and a call that I made to a series of events which led to Excite being funded without a business plan for $3 million, you could never predict how those things are going to happen. And it happens all the time in business.
Is she your wife now?
No.
In Charger, it's a combination, of viral marketing and classical marketing. So the viral engine is that only calls between Charger users they have to register are free. And we also faced a lot of press attention because of this first Sequoia investment in Europe and so on. And basically, if you have such a famous VC, you get a lot of attention. And we keep always the ball rolling. We put every month we put on new features online, new stuff. And so I think one of the secrets is to keep the ball rolling and also to use the blogosphere for a good starting point, and also other channels, new channels like MySpace. It's a totally new channel. You have to deal with MySpace, for instance. Like you deal with bloggers, like you deal with search engines, like you deal with the press, with the newspapers, with television. And the third thing is, I totally agree that distribution is the key at the end of the day. So what we are looking for is also partnerships with large communities where we can simply put our call technology inside to expand and to fasten up the distribution.
We do most of our marketing through direct marketing, primarily search engine marketing. So we're very, very good at measuring exactly what our subscriber acquisition costs are against a whole huge slew of keywords. We also do a ton of PR. So I would say about half our traffic is actually search engine marketing, search engine optimization, and the other half is PR, both in terms of pretty deeply in the blogosphere as well as traditional media.
What percentage of people sign up when they get invited?
I think currently the acceptance rate for the first invitation is around 35%.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. That's very high. I think it's very high, huh? Okay.
Well, it comes from someone you know usually. That's I think one of
problem is everybody thinks they know me. So.
Yeah. We don't?
The reason I do it is hard to maybe believe, but it's very true for me, which is that you don't build relationships like you can with people in a startup with the shared struggle that comes with it. Like, I love going to work because of the people at JotSpot, and and what builds those relationships is the fact that we are all working towards the impossible, towards the improbable of making something like a startup unbelievably successful. That sense of shared struggle is what gets me up in the morning. So that's why I love it. That's why I really love it. And the difference this time around, to swing back to a question I had a bad answer for, celebrate your successes. I wish we had done that more. I really wish every little success you have, yes, you've got to get up in the morning, the next morning, and compete on a new higher level. Celebrate your successes. I always forgot to do that.
Okay.